Thank you, our esteemed colleagues, for joining us today. It is my sincere pleasure to extend the greetings by Chancellor May and UC Davis leadership to you. My colleague, Jake Hosier, and I are here to express our commitment for continued partnership building between Indonesia and UC Davis and US universities at large. And we express our gratitude and sincere appreciation to Indonesian government for the opportunity to partake in the ISMA program. We are eager to discuss further collaborations to create opportunities for advancement of student and faculty mobility and progress in sciences. Our first cohort of 17 Indonesian ISMA students brought life back to our staff and academic division that missed, because of the pandemic, the vibrancy that students bring to our campuses. Let me navigate the computer. Slightly difficult on this stand, but be with me. The excitement around preparation of the students' arrival, visit by the Indonesian Consulate General and his staff to our campus, designing a specific special academic class for this initial inaugural group of students on cultural adjustment, preparing for homestay, and the myriad of other details kept us busy and smiling in anticipation of the students' arrival. When they arrived on campus, they were a joy to work with. They excelled academically and culturally. Their success made us happy, and we were sad to say goodbye to them. So, when we met 10 of them just last week in Jakarta, you can imagine our reunion being most enjoyable. The evening was a delight, a unique opportunity for Jake and me to fly all the way to Indonesia to greet them, and of course, all of you as well. What an outstanding program ISMA is. And I am happy to say we currently are hosting 25 students on our campus, so the group is growing, and we will be looking forward to welcoming more as we move along. What I thought I would speak with you about this morning represents my perspective as an academic with focus on comparative and international education. And although my viewpoints represent perhaps slightly the US perspective on higher education, perhaps the state of higher education, I think we all benefit from reconsidering and deeply thinking about what is the role of education and higher education in particular in society. More importantly, what opportunities and responsibilities lay ahead of us as we educate our students. I say this because we can no longer ignore how interconnected nations are to one another. This became increasingly obvious during the pandemic. No country was saved from its impact. We are truly impacted by each other's actions on this globe. So how does this relate to our mission, the work that we do at universities? Although throughout the history, countries have been connected through exchange of goods and commerce, it was really in the 1980s when countries became increasingly intertwined, not just connected, but intertwined through financial, economic, and natural resource needs and distribution. For educators, such global shift creates a need to pause and reconsider what role education plays in society. We who work in education do know the effect that research and academic excellence brings to advancement of nations, but not all countries invest in education as a strategy for the nation's further development. Rather, political decisions that are not aligned with long-term goals result in meaningless initiatives and investments with minimal impact. Higher education is currently going through tremendous changes around the world. According to Dr. Crow, Arizona State University's president, education is in the intersection of high-speed social change, high-speed globalization, high-speed ecological change on our planet, all that are accelerating because of size and complexity and density and interconnectedness. So the key word is that we are interconnected to one another. We, as educational institutions, carry a very heavy responsibility. During the pandemic, universities had to change instructional modality and incorporate remote instruction or online courses into curriculum. This happened rapidly. In the case of UC Davis, I believe overnight, and most likely here as well. So, what does that do to all of us when we think about these challenges that we face? Never in the history of postmodern thought have we seen such a rapid change in and to education. This happened in most countries around the world, as I mentioned earlier. Also, the work is increasing in terms of number of new academic programs, particularly interdisciplinary in nature, that developed by faculty to find solutions to crises, energy efficiency, global warming, etc. Technology, of course, also helps us to initiate solutions that respond to complex issues. At the core of all of this is the students, our learners. When we develop academic programs today, we develop competencies in students for the fields that we don't even know exist tomorrow. This should make us pause. How do you develop skills for professions that don't exist? It is not enough to consider what core competencies students need in their careers to come, but to align that with the rapidly developing societal advancement. Education in general, but higher education in particular, as I mentioned earlier, is very slow to change. Why is that? It is because we're built on tradition. It is perhaps time to accelerate universities' responsiveness and recognize ourselves as part of the solution. I am impressed, most impressed, in Indonesian investment and commitment to education. I see strategic and visionary thinking that aligns with your country's development and with investments in universities and educational programs. Your actions support unity, diversity, social mobility, advancement of communities, and development of educated workforce. Your focus and investment in cross-cultural skills development through programs like ISMA will serve your nation well in the future. Your graduates will possess competencies to develop your country and work for multinational corporations that include leaders and workers from different backgrounds. We know that equity and equality are still aspirational in many countries, but empowering those who lead organizations with such skill set is a worthy investment that will shift the course of this generation. Furthermore, of course, research collaboration between faculties offer opportunities for both individual and academic growth that are necessary to inspire innovation. I applaud Indonesian government and you, the universities, for your forward-thinking approach. I also want to recognize the exceptional work by Dr. Ahmad and Professor Lulu Farida for their leadership in building the ISMA program. I look forward to learning today about your aspirations, and I'm very grateful that you are considering UC Davis as your partner. Thank you.